Hey guys, and welcome to day 7, Magic of a Pure Heart. Sorry for that weird break in videos. I have school and work and various family stuff, but I'm back. Videos may be a bit sporadic from now on, but don't worry, I'll get all the themes done. It is my own challenge after all. Hopefully I'll be able to voice over them all. I'm pretty sure I'm getting sick. That would figure, in the middle of doing such a heavy drawing challenge, I would lose my voice. So for today, the theme was to redesign my characters how they would look if they were in a magical girl anime. So I kept the designs for all 3 characters pretty similar to each other, with just small variations for each of them. I also wanted to make the characters look more like they actually came from an anime, so I tried to mimic how the characters look on screen. I kept the line thickness pretty uniform so it doesn't taper and deviate much. I feel like it takes away a bit from my work since I like playing around with line thickness, but in all my references they kept the lines pretty thin and uniform. I also didn't blend out any of my shading. I kept it crisp just like you would see on TV, or on Crunchyroll more likely. That was actually a lot trickier than I thought. I'm used to doing more soft shading, so I don't need to worry if my hand is a bit shaky or if there's any weird bumps since I'm just going to be blending them right out anyway. I also challenged myself to only use the multiply layer to shade instead of my usual overlay and soft light shading. Originally, I wanted to design the characters more like they popped out of Kill la Kill, but I've done a lot of stuff for that anime and it doesn't necessarily fit into the traditional magical girl mold, which is why it's so awesome, but I figure I should stick to the basics here. So my main reference was the Precure series, since they've basically dominated the market. It's funny, I don't enjoy most magical girl animes since most of the time I find that they're pretty boring, cliche, predictable, or usually the characters are just pretty stereotypes. Sorry if you enjoy them, that's just my opinion based on what I've seen. But I've actually enjoyed some of the Precure seasons. Are they seasons? There's a bunch of different animes all under the Precure umbrella, so I don't really know what to call them. Properties? Spin-offs? Anyway, the ones I liked were the very first season, then there's the continuation of that season, Precure Max Heart, and then there's Heart Catch. Oh, I wanted to cosplay as Cure Moonlight so bad. I really love the style of Heart Catch. It's so sharp and vibrant. The 3D needed a bit of work, but it's not too distracting. But all the others I just found kind of okay. Those 3 were the only ones that stuck out to me out of like the millions and millions that they have. Don't get me wrong, I've tried other animes and I've watched quite a few episodes of them, but I didn't really connect with them, if that makes sense. I don't know, maybe I just haven't seen any of the good ones. If you've got a recommendation, let me know. I'd love to enjoy this genre more, but I just can't find a lot of good material from it. There is one I remember liking, but I can't remember the name. I think it had a French name. The main girl character had these guys that were each a different color and she would use them to transform. They had a shared consciousness whenever she used their power. I think the girl had pink hair and she fell in love with the blue guy. I think the last battle was in a garden. I remember the ending was sad, which is probably why I remember it so well. It's bugged me for years that I can't remember the name of it. I'd love to rewatch it sometime. One day I'll find it. That way I can be sad all over again. Has anyone watched that Magical Boy anime? It came up a lot while I was looking up references for Crow and I'm curious if it's good or not. It's nice that guys can get magical transformations too. The world was severely lacking in them. I think that may have been what I actually based the costumes off of. Sure, I was looking at a lot of Precure screenshots while I was drawing this, but the actual outfits my characters ended up with seemed like a blend of that anime and Heart Catch's design. And I am totally cool with that. This is probably the most white you will ever see my characters in. They will never look this clean again. I have to say, doing today's theme, I really miss my gradients. A lot of the characters I was looking at all had pretty solid coloring, so I couldn't do my usual gradients or blending. I didn't think that would be what I would miss for today's illustrations. Out of the soft shading, the line thickness, or things like that, I miss the gradients the most. Guess I'll just have to make up for that later. I think out of all 3 illustrations for today, I like Ash's the best. Crow's is pretty standard and Ray's is just the usual adorable costume, but I think Ash looks the most finished and her outfit mimics her usual stuff more than the others do. That being said, I think Ray looks more the part than the other 2. I can actually see her waving some sort of heart-shaped scepter around to defeat monsters. Geez, some of the weapons in these animes, I swear. I think it's Sweet Precure, where one of the characters literally has an electric guitar. She fights with a guitar. See, in the first Precure series, the girls actually used their fists. They didn't need no weapons. Those 2 seasons were actually kind of violent for the Precure series. Which is probably why I enjoyed them, go figure. Well, no weapon is gonna get weirder than nose hair, I suppose. All my Bobobo fans will get that reference. No, I wasn't playing Bobobo in the background and getting distracted while I was drawing this. Nope, not me. Can Bobobo count as a magical girl anime? I mean, there are transformations, they use magic, and they do shout their attacks. But maybe that's just an anime thing. Why do they do that? It doesn't seem very smart. And the enemies just stand there like waiting for them to charge up. Why? The hero is doing their usual yelling and glowing nonsense, and the villain always just stands there, doing that twitchy eye stare thing while spouting some internal monologue about how they just can't believe it, how impossible this all is, how the hero is the chosen one, and so on and so on. Someone please explain this to me. I've only ever seen one anime that tried to explain stuff like this. Apparently, it's because the transformations and everything only take a few milliseconds. Seriously, the villains can go out for lunch, run some errands, pick up their dry cleaning, come back, and the hero is still charging up. Isn't that right, Sailor Moon? Please, no, go ahead, do your monologue. It's not like there's some vicious beast on the loose or the very safety of the world lies on your shoulders. Please, go do your monologue and little moon poses. The human population can wait. Has anyone seen Girl Chan in Paradise? For some reason, that's what popped into my head while I think of scenes like that. It's a shame Ego Raptor never continued that, it was just hilarious. If you are any kind of anime fan and you haven't watched that, you need to see it. It's like Bobobo, it's not as random, mind you, but it pokes fun at all those ridiculous anime tropes. Ugh, it's so good. All this anime talk is bringing back some serious nostalgia. Those good old Toonami and Adult Swim days. I remember sneaking out of bed really early just so I can watch Code Geass or Inuyasha or something like that. Back in my day, we had to plan around our shows. Nowadays, you kids can just binge watch it on the internet. I'm just kidding, I binged plenty of anime on the internet. I remember sneaking a whole lot of Elfen Lied growing up. That's more of an adult anime. Lots of nudity, blood, and adult themes that I really should not have been watching. Man, that is about the furthest I can get from talking about magical girl anime. Whoops. But getting back to the drawing, this day was actually pretty easy. Designing these costumes was pretty fun, and it's a lot simpler and cleaner than my normal designs. It was nice to tone things down and take it easy on the design for once. I'd say the trickiest part of all of this was definitely that shading. It's not at all close to what I normally do. But it is some good practice, and I think it turned out pretty well. I can't wait for the next day's illustrations. I really think you guys are going to like them. So that wraps things up for Magic of a Pure Heart, and I'll see you guys for Day 8, Treasures of the Galaxy. Alrighty guys, bye for now.